Let's start with the staple that makes this class fun, the super jump. First job, you get a dash, and at second job, that dash for Buccaneer becomes advanced dash, which you can bind. Bind advanced dash and press slightly before jump, and this happens. It takes some time getting used to the timing, but this is the best movement Buck gets. Results and consistency of successful jumps may vary depending on what button placements work best for you. My setup is dash on Alt and jump on V, and that seems to work pretty well over the other way around for some reason. But just aim for some button combination where you press dash slightly before jump. Combine this with up jump and you're clearing almost all of latch in a single hop. I'm introducing this first because this, in my opinion, is the staple of Buccaneer, and at 5th job, it in turn becomes your main attacking skill for mobbing, essentially making you into a human path of destruction. Learning super jumps is also what got me heavily into this class in the first place. I'm a sucker for anything with super fast or super precise movement. Unlike my Ho-Yo guide, I'm not going to go super into detail on all of Buck's skills because a lot of them get replaced with the subsequent next job's mobbing and bossing skills, and instead I'll be focusing on the ones you'll be using the most from 4th and 5th job onward. That being said, first job for pirates, you get your standard flash jump and passives for crit rate and crit damage and some extra movement speed. Second job, you get some more passives for mastery, flat attack, max health, and knockback resist. 100% at second job? What? Some health and mana recovery, flat stats, passive attack speed, an up jump, advanced dash, which I talked about earlier, and your first toggleable skill, Sea Serpent. When you attack, this friend comes out and attacks with you too. Third job gets an upgrade to this, getting a stronger serpent friend, shared with the same toggle. Hits more lines and a couple more enemies over the previous one. You also get more passives for attack, crit rate, and damage reduction, and stat resistance, which also lets you get more crit on enemies that are inflicted with abnormal status. Roll of the dice is a random chance skill with each dice roll giving different attributes. For some reason, the game doesn't list them all right in the skill itself, which I find kind of weird, but here's what each number does. 1, the only one the skill lists. 1 reduces the cooldown of the skill. 2 gives more defense, 3 gives more health and mana, 4 gives extra crit rate, 5 gives extra damage, and 6 gives extra XP. 5 and 6 are typically the ones you want to aim for, especially 6 while grinding. If you don't one-shot the enemies yet, then 5 can help too. The skill has a long cooldown early on, but at max level the duration matches the cooldown, so right when it expires you can use it again. Just about every pirate gets these dice, and it's a nice boost. Serpent scale generates stacks when your friend Sea Serpent comes out, and at 5 stacks you can press the skill again, and your next attack will summon a big one-off attack that does big damage and a big AoE. A lot of big. I cannot find any real use cases for not having this be auto-toggled all the time, so I'll note that you can right-click it to have this trigger automatically as you fight things. Once it hits 5 stacks, it just comes out every so often. Lastly, for third job, Corkscrew Blow on the surface just looks like a standard dash attack skill, but the things you can do with it far surpass expectations. It can animation cancel certain skills, but at this rank, all you can realistically do with it is cancel AB Link's animation if you have that on. I'll talk more about what else it can cancel at 5th job when we get there. At 4th though, Corkscrew can be used as a little teleport when used with Octo Punch, your main bossing skill. Hook Bomber is your main mobbing skill you'll be using from here on out too. You also get some pretty cool passives for IED, final damage, and flat attack. One that gives you a 50% chance of rolling a second dice with roll the dice. This one that gives you a shield when your serpent skills hit enemies. And another unhit one that boosts your damage by 25% for 10 seconds and refreshes the duration when you hit an enemy. That's just 25% extra free damage while in combat. That's pretty nice. There's also your standard every job gets Maple Warrior and Hero's Will type tunes to vibe out and relax to, but also 2 skills exclusive to Buccaneer. Speed Infusion boosts your attack speed, and it's a decent skill that anyone can get at 5th job, but Bucks counts for the whole party. That helps save a node slot at 5th job if you remember to keep casting it for your party. They also get this, which nobody else gets, Time Leap. This skill is severely underrated and often forgotten about. It resets all cooldowns for your whole party, minus 5th job skills and certain hyper skills. 3-minute cooldown, but it can be a massive increase depending on which classes it benefits the most by resetting their longer cooldowns. It also resets Echo of Heroes' 2-hour cooldown, which is shockingly amazing. Nautilus Strike is just a screen-wide attack with a really good passive that boosts a bunch of your main attacks with some extra lines. Crossbones is a nice small buff to attack with an even better passive from mastery and final damage, and some resistances I guess. You also get an even stronger Serpent, as well as an extra Serpent skill that works exclusively only with your bossing skill, Octo Punch, Rage, and Assault. Rage makes enemies take 20% extra final damage, and Assault triggers at 5 scale stacks and places a small AoE that lasts for 5 seconds, or 15 attacks, that hurts anything close to it. For hyper skills, you get a new buff that gives 5% crit damage when attacking enemies that are Serpent marked, the Serpent Rage thing. This stacks 3 times up to 15% crit damage for 30 seconds, and can keep being refreshed as long as the buff's still active. Since it no longer has a cooldown, keep using that. Epic Adventure is just standard 10% damage for a minute with a 2-minute cooldown, and it applies to all explorers in your party. And Stimulating Conversation, which reduces the downtime for all your Serpent everything for 90 seconds. So now your Serpent will come out way more often with your attacks. It also boosts your damage by 20% while active, and it passively gives you some boss damage. Neat. For hyper passives, you'll want Double Down's 40% chance to skip cooldown. That has an additional effect. If it does skip, then the next roll will be a guaranteed 4, 5, or 6. And also the one that gives extra chance of rolling to 4, 5, or 6. The other hyper that has a chance to roll a 7 just gives IED, so that is situational, but usually you'll want to just get the other passives instead. Like extra damage, boss, and lines on Octo Punch if you're focusing on bossing, or extra damage, enemies hit, and lines on Hook Bomber if you're focusing on grinding. All of these passives are good, depending on what you're using your Buccaneer for, but definitely do get Double Down Enhance and Saving Grace. Makes this skill a lot less RNG and focused as a proper buff. For the last 3 points, either focus Octo Punch for bossing or Hook Bomber for mobbing. I'd make the exception for Spread since it already hits 7 enemies and you'll be clearing maps pretty comfortably with just that already. You don't really need that skill. On to 5th, starting with the other staple that makes Buck.
Lord of the Deep.
It's a toggle that finally unites you with your Serpent buddy, and they just absolutely annihilate everything in your path. This is the first skill you'll want to max out. It's your main everything damaging skill, useful in every situation. I will say though, it sometimes turns itself off because you didn't attack enough enemies or hit the boss enough, and for that, just reactivate it. It does have a 1-minute cooldown though, which reduces depending on how much it hit prior. Just be on top of having your friend with you at all times. Lightning Form boosts final damage, crit rate, and IED, and it lets you toss out 3 energy orbs that fly at enemies and slow down once they hit one. Each orb counts as an iframe, by the way. You can use Corkscrew Blow to cancel the orb animation. Also, if you double tap any direction, you teleport in that direction too, for the entire duration of Lightning Form. Serpent Vortex is a cool dash with 6 charges that refresh every 8 seconds, and it can be used to go diagonally up and down, straight forward, or without any directions pressed, it can be used to cancel all momentum. Useful if you want to stop flying around the map, or precision in bosses, etc. Put this one on an alert so you know more clearly when it's off cooldown, because the little indicator on the actual skill is difficult to properly make out, especially at a quick glance when you're in combat. Lastly, Howling Fist is your burst skill. You can press it again to have it attack faster, and while it's attacking, it counts as another iframe. You can also cancel this animation as well with Corkscrew Blow. 90-second cooldown, but it does a hefty amount of damage across your whole screen. Now how do you make Buck easy? Well, I mean they already are easy, but... Lord of the Deep plus Super Jump. Was that a map you were just in? I couldn't tell because it looks empty! Though in bosses, you'll want to lessen your use of Super Jump and use it more so for getting away quickly. Still keep Serpent up. As I mentioned before too, using Corkscrew Blow to cancel a whole bunch of animations, especially at 5th job, helps a lot too. On that note, Pirate's Banner can be cancelled with Corkscrew and is just a nice party buff if they're standing in the area. For 5th skills, you should also get Overdrive, which is a nice burst buff, and Loaded Dice, which lets you select your next dice roll for free. Again, Super Jump is going to be the main way you train once you get the hang of doing it fairly consistently, and Lord of the Deep will be the first skill node you'll want to max out. Serpent Vortex is a bit odd because it too counts as a teleport and is your most readily available one, but only for the first little section of it for some reason. The rest of the distance it counts as a dash. The Buccaneer Discord has a whole thing with an image about this very thing. Lotus Lasers you'll want to stand right next to and then use Serpent Vortex, and that'll count as a teleport. If you stand a bit too far away, it'll just be a dash and you die. Silly little skill. For link skills, you'll want AB's link Terms and Conditions, and the other damage links like Demon Avenger and Kana, Ark's Solus, etc. For training, throw on the XP links from Mercedes, Evan, and Aran, along with Lara's link. For bossing, Demon Slayer and Beast Tamers are always good for that extra boss damage. Luminous's Link for some IED, Explorer Mage and Explorer Thief, the Resistance Link if you need some extra invulnerability time after dying, and whatever other damage links you feel would fit best. Also, while Buck does get some crit damage from some of their skills when attacking debuffed enemies and bosses, you'll still want to aim for 100% crit rate just for more consistent damage output. For Trinodes, you'll want any mix of these 6 skills, but for dedicated quote-unquote perfect Trinodes, Octopunch, Serpent Rage / Assault, and Nautilus Strike, and Hook Bomber, Serpent Burst, and Corkscrew Blow for the other node. The reason you get Nautilus Strike isn't for its extra damage when you use the skill, but the fact it gives you extra passive final damage on all the final attacks of skills you'll be using frequently like Octopunch and Hook Bomber. The first Trinode is mainly for bossing, and the second is more so for mobbing. Buck only has 8 Trinodes to choose from anyways, so getting some perfects or slant perfects shouldn't be too hard. For Burst / BA, all you gotta do is pop all your class buffs, your 5th job buffs like Pirate Banner and Overdrive, Will Skill 2 if you're a high enough level to have that on, Angelic Buster Link if you have that on too, and throw all your Lightning Orbs out, Howling Fist, Animation Cancel any of the last 3 with Corkscrew Blow if you want, saves a little time. Pop Vortex whenever it comes off cooldown, and keep spamming Octopunch. A bit involved, but to simplify it, pop buffs, Howling Fist, spam Octopunch and Serpent Vortex. You're good to go. For inner ability, you'll just want 20% boss, as much flat attack as you can get in either buff duration or abnormal status. Meso works too if you're grinding a lot, or drop if you want extra drop rate for bosses at the cost of damage, or if you're just saving some honor and you're looking for a decent settle. And that's it. Thanks for watching this long, and if I missed anything or stated any incorrect information, let me know and I'll make a correction for it either as a pinned comment or in the description of this video. I always appreciate the feedback, and I'm trying to bring you the best videos that I can. As far as Buccaneers go, I couldn't have really made this guide as complete as it feels to me without the Buck Discord. Honestly, before making this guide, I wasn't aware of all the animation canceling Buck had with Corkscrew Blow. That's insanely useful even for me. They also helped me learn that Nautilus Strike's Trinode boosts its passive, so shout out to them for having a pretty in-depth analysis of this whole class. Really, the best way to learn about every class in this game is to just find their dedicated class discords, as the people in there love the said class so passionately, and some even have full-on documented guides going into every hitbox, every possible weapon combination, what to do and how to do it, etc. I'm looking at you, Hero Discord. Got another class in mind that I should do a big old guide on next? Tell me down in the comments. I plan on doing as many guides on classes as I can, even for ones that I don't mainly play. That's all.